And verse 30, it's very clear, we do all these things because we're in a disturbed mental state. The Buddha said very clearly, we are sick. Dharma is the medicine. Buddha is the great doctor. Dharma is the medicine. The Sangha are the community of people who help you take the medicine, like the nurses, hospital staff. Those are the three jewels referred to in verse 30. So, in a disturbed mental state, I've done so many negative things out of disrespect, not respecting Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, parents. How much negative energy we're often encouraged to feel against parents nowadays, especially if they're not perfect. I remember reading a book when I was a teenager. Totally, it was called The Death of the Family. It was by a particular group of psychiatrists who were, of course, there was a lot in what they said which was true, and how families can create dysfunctional children by the craziness in the family. But, it just led to so much negative feelings in my mind towards parents. Later I thought, what the hell are you thinking? This is terrible to think about your mother and father in such a way, who have sacrificed their life for you, So anyway, we do many things in a disturbed mental state. We even harm we act against and criticize even sometimes, or make fun. Even it could be of our teachers sometimes, people who really help us so much. We can be disrespectful to them, harm them, and others. So, thoroughly evil and polluted by an abundance of faults, I openly declare to the guides of the world. But, he says, and now he's saying, look, this is all very well to recognize it, but I may well perish. I may die before all my evils have been purified. The point is they can be purified. That's the thing. There's no eternal heaven or hell in Buddhism. No eternal hell anyway. So we can't go to hell forever. But we can, of course, purify to the extent that either our time in hell will be very little, less time, or we won't have to experience it at all. Hell is, of course, mainly a state of mind. By and large, it's a state of mind, but we can talk more about that later. So he's saying, so please protect me in such a way as will swiftly and surely free me from all of these negative actions. The untrustworthy Lord of Death does not wait for things to be done or undone, whether I'm sick or healthy. This fleeting lifespan is unstable. Leaving all, I must depart alone. All these verses are on death and impermanence, and a reflection on that in the context of unwholesomeness and the need to purify immediately. Leaving all, I must depart alone. But through not having understood this, I committed various kinds of evil for the sake of my friends and against my enemies. We don't realize this. We think, if I go to parties, if I have friends, I'm not alone. But actually in life we're alone. We're alone with our own mind. No one else can enter into your mind and save you. We're born alone. We live basically alone with others, but we're alone with others. Then we die alone. Even if you jump into a well together in a suicide pact with your friend, lover, whatever, you're not going to be together in the next place. That depends on your karma. Your bodies will be together, at the bottom of the well, but your mind streams will not be together, which is what often people hope. Let's commit suicide. We'll be in heaven together. It doesn't seem to work that way, according to Lord Buddha, according to Buddhism. So, not having understood this, you see, I committed various kinds of unwholesomeness. Did any of you see the film Kundun on the life of the Dalai Lama? Kundun, Scorsese's movie. Did you see it? So do you recognize the next verse? Very beautiful section where they recite this next verse. When they're, I think, leaving Lhasa, escaping from Lhasa, His Holiness, dressed as a soldier with a gun in his hand, in disguise, escaping from Lhasa in early March 1959. Or late February, whenever. I think he arrived in India in March. So, my foes will become nothing. My friends will become nothing. I too will become nothing. likewise all will become nothing. Just like a dream experience, whatever things I enjoy will become a memory. Whatever has passed will not be seen again. Very powerful words. They use it to great effect in the movie. Whatever has passed will not be seen again. So, it's like, will His Holiness see Lhasa again? Maybe, who knows? Probably not, but even so, it will have changed so much. Even within this brief life, many friends and foes have passed, but whatever unbearable evil I committed for them remains ahead of me. I will experience the results of my negative karma, not them. Even if I did it for them, I will experience it. If I've created negative karma by killing or stealing or abusing people, I will experience that karma. I'll experience the result of that. Other people will experience the results of their karma. Therefore, I now seek refuge in the Buddhas who protect the world, who strive to shelter all that lives, and with great strength eradicate all fear. So it makes sense to, when one is in danger, to have as your protector someone powerful. You can't go to a person who's weaker than you to protect you, or even equal. You need someone much more powerful to protect you. So the Buddhas are powerful in the sense they have great compassion, great wisdom, no fear, and they have the skillful means to benefit others. They have no fear. Buddhists have no fear whatsoever. So they are worthy protectors, helpers. Likewise, I purely seek refuge in the Dharma, they've realized, that clears away the fears of cyclic existence. So, you go to the great doctor. If you're sick, you go to the doctor whom you know can cure you. But the doctor, in fact, gives you medicine. That's how you're cured. You're not allowed to take the doctor home, chop them up and eat them. You take the medicine that the doctor gives you. So the medicine is the Dharma. The teachings of Lord Buddha are the medicine. If we practice them. If we keep them on the shelf, they don't help. So we have to read the books, practice what's in the books. And also I take refuge in the assembly of Bodhisattvas, meaning those really highly realized beings who are like highly skilled nurses and hospital staff who help me take the medicine, guide me. What remains with me now from the terminated experiences of the past? But through my great attachment to them, I've been going against my spiritual master's advice. Yeah, I've been attached to, the way I behave, my negative ways of behavior, past actions. I don't see the mistakes. I'm attached to so many things in life, and so because of that I've been going against the advice of my teachers, of my spiritual masters, who in fact only want my welfare, but due to my ignorance, my attachment, I've been going against their advice. So having departed from this life and from all my friends and relatives, if all alone I must go elsewhere, what is the use of making friends and enemies? We should tell this to governments of India and Pakistan. What would they say? What remains with me now from the terminated experiences of the past? You can take this on a national level. We're attached to our history, aren't we? To all the blood that has flowed, we're attached in terms of Indian history. The partition, they did this to me, I did this to them, la da 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 da. We're stuck there. And so therefore, we're going against the teachings of our own spiritual, people whom we, at home in our puja rooms, we revere them. Then we go out and shout slogans against the neighboring country. That's just hypocrisy, isn't it? We're not practicing what our great teachers have taught us. Having departed from this life and from all my friends and relatives, if all alone I have to go elsewhere, meaning to another life, what's the use in this life of making friends and enemies? Of course it's okay to have friends. I'm not saying don't have friends, but you know what I mean. He's talking about attachment. These are my friends, these are my enemies. That kind of thinking. It's totally misguided. Due to causes and conditions, things are happening in the world right now, say between India and Pakistan. Due to many causes and conditions, we get so attached to them and to certain aspects of history that we cannot see clearly. For example, the simple fact that the people across the border, many of course are relations, related to people on this side, but they're human beings like you and me who want to be happy. One head, two arms, two legs, one head, a heart, wanting to be happy, wanting pleasant experiences, not wanting unpleasant. They have good actors, good singers, they share so much culture with us, and yet, due to ignorance and getting stuck in the past, we cannot change our foolish ways. So I beseech all the guides of the world to please accept my evils and wrongs, meaning accept my declaration of them. Since these are not good, in future I shall do them no more. So at the end of purification practice in Buddhism, we also pledge that as much as possible I will not do these things again. Of course, it's very difficult to say I won't do them ever again. So our teacher says at least make a realistic promise at the end of any purification practice. Say, okay, I find it very difficult not to say lie or be sarcastic. So at least for today, tomorrow, maybe for 3 days or something, I will not lie or be sarcastic or hurt people with my speech. One can make that kind of promise and stick to it. It's realistic. If we say, if we are used to lying and we say, I'm never going to lie again, then that's unrealistic. We find that within a few weeks, if we're a shopkeeper especially, maybe we said a lie to the customer, or something. We said, this is a very good product, even though we have no idea whether it's a good product or not. And we, I bought this for so much myself, I'm just selling it to you for a little bit more, but actually exaggerating that. So, we have to be careful too. So in Buddhism, there are 4 ways to there's a fourfold method of purifying negative karma called the 4 opponent powers. First is regret. We have to recognize and regret what we did was stupid, ignorant, harmed others, etc. Second, we have to then take refuge and generate compassion. If we're Buddhist, you go for refuge to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and you generate compassion for others, because negative action by definition means something that has harmed others. So you generate compassion and you go for refuge, for guidance to the Buddha, his teaching, and the spiritual assembly, the Sangha. That's the second. Then the third is an actual practice you do. Could be many things. Meditating on emptiness, prostrations, certain mantras, many ways of purifying, an actual practice, But it should be prefaced by these 2 things of feeling regret and taking refuge and so forth. Then at the end, the 4th power is what Shantideva says in this verse 65. It's basically promising as much as possible not to do the action again. That makes sense, right? Because then if you keep on saying, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to lie, and then you keep on lying, it's just not, it's like cleaning up and then deliberately, throwing garbage on the floor of your house and cleaning it up, again throwing garbage. It's like, how long are you going to, keep on doing that? You have to clean up once and for all. So anyway, for the time being, you say, these are not good. In future, I shall try and refrain from these actions, specifically for such and such length of time. If you're someone who just cannot stop killing ants, mosquitoes, cockroaches, and rats in your house, then you have to say, okay, I'm going to desist for a few days. That knee-jerk reaction of killing the cockroach or ant, I'm not going to do it for a few days. Doesn't mean you can't try and take some other steps, And of course, if your whole wall and your floors are crawling with vermin and, cockroaches, then you may have to call in pest control. This is the unfortunate thing. Or go and live somewhere else, but that's difficult, right? So if you call pest control, you have to realize that they're going to use methods that maybe kill hundreds and thousands of beings. So then you have to be prepared in your mind to accept the karma of that and begin to purify immediately. If you call in pest control, you've called them, you're paying them, so you can't say they deliberately came without asking. You call them, so you're responsible actually for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of little creatures, possibly, if they're very small ones. So then you have to purify. Then you have to say, well, as much as possible in the future I'll refrain, because you don't know if they'll come back to your house. Sometimes they do. So you can't say forever, I'm never going to kill any of these beings again. That might be unrealistic. Difficult one. But the main thing is mind and intention. You don't want to kill them, but you're having to do it because it's just, your mother or someone's freaking out every time they go in the kitchen. They can't even walk, there's so many. So sometimes you just have to do something. Or else, as I said, go live somewhere else. But that's not practical, is it? So you have to kill a lot of beings. With courage, you take on the responsibilities. Okay, the karma's on me, but I'm going to try and purify. And if your intention is strong and you have strong regret that you had to do it, that's very, very powerful. Just that step alone is very powerful in reducing the karmic effect, because regret is powerful. Regret makes us do something as a counterforce. If you regret having said something unpleasant to a friend, it's the regret that makes you go and say something nice, isn't it? And apologizing. If you had no regret, you wouldn't do it. You'd think, oh, I was right. I was right to say that. You might even do it again. But if you have regret, then you say, okay. You go and try and make up with your friend or whatever. Yeah, so one of the tragedies of modern education that I can see, partly from my own experience, which only got remedied when I started studying Buddhism really, is that we are not taught how to think properly, logically, rationally, creatively. We're not taught to think, we're just taught to copy and just to read what is in a textbook and accept it, you know. Unless you study philosophy or something, or are already very intelligent, you just don't know how to think about things. So we have to learn how to analyze, how to weigh things in our mind. So then we can begin to see the benefits of detachment, the deep problems, disadvantages of clinging and attachment to ideas, things, people, political viewpoints, whatever. We can see how that is not based on reality, because reality is changing. Reality of any moment depends on many causes and conditions. Causes and conditions by their nature are changing all the time. Which is why these stupid directors in the future might regret a lot when there aren't at a certain point in Indian film history a lot of good Indian actors, and they see all these wonderful Pakistani actors making movies and money across the border. Then they'll be saying, oh, I shouldn't have said I'm never going to have these actors again. And it's so ironic, so many of our most famous actors are Muslims. So they now will be, of course, saying they should go back to Pakistan. Some people must be thinking that already, afraid to say it. Some are not afraid to say it, probably. We have to learn through analysis. What are the benefits of this? What are the benefits of that action? What are the repercussions? So we have to learn reasoning. I guess intelligent, good business people have to learn to think this way. Have to, use the power of their mind, thinking capacity, maybe albeit in a business mentality, but, if you're making a business plan, for example, which I only really heard about the other day, but I'm having to think about these now because of some responsibility I've been given. So you have to think about a business plan, how to do this, and what are your, what are the different causes, conditions that are going to come together, how do you have, your cash flows going, what's your contingency plan, what exactly makes you unique, which you can, show to other people to get funds. So many things have to be thought up in a good business plan. So, gets you thinking, and then you have to put it together, etc., etc. But we're not taught how to think. We're taught how to make very quick opinions based on our emotions and people eliciting attachment and fear in our mind. Then we make, these are bad, have to do this, yes. Especially if we're politically minded or are attached to a political party, then whatever the leader says, yes, we stop thinking for ourselves. So dangerous. You have a maniac or some idiot in charge, and then they have so much influence on so many people. Look at world history. And out of fear, people don't, even if they are thinking differently, out of fear, they don't go against the status quo. It's happened, didn't it, in so many countries in the 20th century. And it's happening now. I wouldn't want to live in North Korea and think differently from the great leader. You get chopped up in no time. Or try and escape to the south, which is a very dangerous maneuver. you have a country which is spending so much on nuclear option and its own people are starving in many cases. So then, but most people are, you see these awful videos, and I'm not trying to paint the West as holier than thou, but you see all these pictures of people having to clap like maniacs when the great leader says anything, in these North Korean videos. It's just because they know if they don't clap enthusiastically enough, they could be pointed out and killed for not being enthusiastically in support of the great leader. Of course, the West had its own problems right now. I wouldn't like to see Trump getting as president right now, quite frankly. Unless he has some trump up his sleeve, some great quality he hasn't shown yet, Maybe he's a bodhisattva. We can't tell yet. Anything else? Yes?
Previously, I thought the regret is very negative.
Is very?
emotion. Negative.
Negative. Yeah, because we think of regret as guilt and stuff, but regret is very good. If you steal from somebody and don't regret it, that's negative. Say you steal from your mother or father or something. Well, you'll regret it probably at some point. Do you think? In that case, regret is good.
Yes, as
If you steal from a shop and you feel regret, isn't that good?
It's because what we behaved, what we said to hurt people's feeling. So we're supposed to be intelligent or smart, not to hurt people's feeling. So before that, I thought the regret is kind of negative emotion. And as you are saying, maybe it can improve our go apology for people to be better in the future.
It's absolutely essential, I would say. People have to realize the stupid mistakes they make and the harmful things they do. Only then will they change. Because otherwise if I think lying or cheating or being unkind to people is okay, and I don't question it, then I'll keep on doing it. So I have to regret first the negative actions.
Yes, but still that kind of negative emotions cannot let it go.
Sorry?
But still the negative emotion.
Feel negative emotion.
Yes, in mind, cannot let it go.
Sometimes it's difficult to let go, but we have to try through methods. There are many methods to let go. Sometimes we have to leave it and just work on the positive side and then make the mind more and more positive. Then automatically, like when the sun shines, automatically then the clouds dissolve. You can't start attacking the clouds, but if the sun shines, the clouds dissolve. So if the sun of our wisdom and compassion shine more, then automatically the negativity becomes less. They're like clouds, they become less, they get just burnt up, they dissolve. They evaporate. The good thing about these delusions, when the sun of wisdom and compassion come out, the delusions disappear completely. They're not still there in the sky of the mind, but invisible. We have the power with wisdom and compassion to completely eliminate our negative energy. Completely, so that it will never come back again, ever. That's the power of the wisdom and compassion that can be generated. Unlike ordinary enemies, as Shantideva says, you can kill enemies, but their sons and daughters will come back to haunt you. But with the delusions in the mind, if you eradicate them with wisdom, they can never come back, because you've eradicated them from the root, which is ignorance. If you eradicate ignorance, then anger, attachment can never come back. Never, ever. Because you've cut their life source. As the Buddha said, just work with the immediate problem you have. Don't ask. If you have an arrow in your eye, don't ask who shot it, what the wood is made of, what's the name of the poison, how far away was the person when they shot the arrow. Don't ask these questions. Just get the arrow out of your eye and get a doctor. So that's what we should do. We should, the arrow of hunger is piercing our stomachs. We should have some food.